All right. Well, let me call the meeting to order then. Thank you everyone for joining us virtually. We're gonna have something new tonight. The very first thing on the agenda is adopting the agenda we have. I'd like a motion to adopt that agenda.
I'll make the motion.
That's from Tina.
Second.
The second is from, did I hear Tim?
Sure.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. If anyone is not in favor, please say nay. Then I will send the motion carries unanimously. The first thing on the agenda is good things. And we'd like to share good things. Who has some good things to share?
I thought the video that was sent out from the school that Sarah Watson put together was awesome. I really showed people coming together in our school district. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I concur with that. And I think the activities that have been put together by for our seniors is really good too. The Adopt a Senior program, that was a great idea. I think a lot of people in the community have jumped aboard with that.
The shortcut to the guidance office is open again. You can go from the office straight up the stairs again. So that was cool to see.
That's great. There's been a lot of big progress at the school. If no one's been by there, you can stop by and take a look. Obviously, keep your distance from everyone, but Dr. Johnson be happy to show you around, keeping you at arm's length. So, all right.
I would like to say it's been the silver lining with this the COVID-19 closure is that construction has been able to continue. So,
yes,
very happy about that.
Well, cross our fingers that we will be able to continue with that construction. Okay, we will continue along. We don't have any way to sign up for comments. So, and I did not receive any beforehand. If we do receive some later, I'll bring them to the board's attention. The next item on the list is our consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion.
That motion.
Motion from Tina.
I'll second it.
And a second from Barb. Again, if there is anyone that is opposed to the consent agenda, please say nay. The motion carries unanimously. Approved that. The next item on the list then is discussion topics and an update for Branco.
So he's not on yet, but I'm going to see where he's at, and we can go on to the next COVID-19 update. I'm going to send him real quick.
I think everyone's seen in there, we did get a letter from Branco that says there are things and they're experiencing delays with their suppliers as well. So not only are they running into problems, but suppliers are. So we will move along. The next thing on there is the virus update. Notice that Governor Parson, Missouri schools would remain closed for the rest of the year. We are continuation as best we can, and we'll continue with serving meals. Dr. Johnson, you have anything more from more recent conferences?
We've had a lot of just every day is a learning experience from a little bit prior to March the 16th when we canceled, thinking we were coming back, preparing for a short-term. Teachers doing a great job preparing for a 10-day, virtual lesson platform. And then as we got into the closure, we realized that longer, and we are learning so much right now. We're all getting better. We're together, learning new ways to communicate. And as far as the state and federal guidelines and information that we're getting is, the peak is supposed to be now till next week here in Missouri. And it appears that closures are going to continue through the month of May and into June. So we'll speak more about graduate, some of our local things. I know that Mr. Stammers and Mr. West are going to talk about graduation plans and prom and some other things. And then the other principals with these as well to talk about other things. But there's a lot of unknowns because we're waiting on the green light to be able to do a lot of things. So we can't give a lot of people the answers that they want right now, but we're doing the best we can to make the times are appropriate. As far as the COVID funding, I was going to talk a little bit about that later, but still getting lots of different updates as we go on, and I'll speak more on that when we get to budget updates. But there's good news. Just today we received, or yesterday and today we received. Still not looking in the long. This is going to be a definite impact to our economy in our nation and in the state and locally. But we are. The great thing is people value schools, and so we'll be the last ones, hopefully, to be hit hard. But if you have any questions, don't. We've been trying to do the best we can to update as we get information, putting stuff out on Facebook, putting information out in the newspaper, school messenger. So it's been a busy time, and it's hard to believe. I think if you ask any teacher or any administrator, even though we don't have students, basically, we're still working hard. I know the parents are too, and the kids.
Okay. Anyone have any other comments or questions on that? Okay. Did you reach Sean?
John is
or
here.
no? He is here. Okay, because I don't see you on my iPad. Sean, do you want to give us
I
an
see,
update on the
Justin, Phil, Tina, and Merlin. And you, of course.
Well, we've got lots of participants on here. So if you'd like to give us a rundown of what's going on and how this virus business is affecting you and what you think, how it might affect our project, we'd appreciate it.
Right now, know what the final outcome of it's going to be with the several factories shutting down due to this. The impact to the shipment of materials hasn't hit yet, but we get letters daily from like light fixture people, Williams Lights, Lennox, Carrier, all those guys have sent out stuff saying that basically if you had a 6-week lead time, it's now triple that. If your stuff was sitting on the line, you'd be lucky to have it, in double the time. I had one not shut down because of paint, and it was Sherwin-Williams paint. It was an epoxy paint, but paint nonetheless, because they shut down the Kansas City Sherwin-Williams plant. So far, none of that has hit us on this project, but we're not to the finishes stage by any stretch. Being that the worst of it on supply is going to get probably this fall. So we've instructed our subs to get themselves in line if they haven't already. That's the good thing about stored materials. A lot of architects don't like them, but we do, because a lot of our materials are on site or being stored in a warehouse at the contractor's place, which is a good thing. As far as, I don't know if any of you watched the governor today, but he's talking about a phased reopening of everything, basically starting I think it was May the 1st. St. Louis theirs is indefinitely, which was kind of odd, I thought. Kansas City's May 15th when they're going to try to open back up. Springfield has not said yet. Ours expires the 28th, I believe it is. They haven't said what they're going to do, but my guess is they're going to follow the state because they've been, I mean, the whole stay-at-home thing went great here for about 2 weeks, but yesterday and today, you could never tell there was a stay-at-home order. I mean, people are sick of it and they're getting out and doing whatever. So, but as far as if we're continued by CDC, we have to follow the CDC guidelines or we get in trouble, expose ourselves to all kinds of liabilities, whether we agree with it or not. We've put in hand wash stations, sanitizing methods, means for the guys to clean their tools down several times a day. We've limited the areas of groups of less than 10, maintaining social distancing, just everything that we've got to do. And it's all going to come with a price at some point, but we don't know how much that price is going to be just yet. We scheduled out the job Thursday. And I kind of just Tuesday, and I've been extremely busy this week trying to keep everything rolling. Haven't really looked at it hard or looked at the end date. It still looks like EC is going to be done before the school year. Next year, the high school seems to be hit the hardest just because we know we can't be bunching people up. So the good news is it looks like EC is pushed back a little, but it's still, July finish, something like that. So, but other than that, we don't know. We don't know what it is until it hits us. We just kind of hope that this thing just kind of goes away, and we don't do it foolishly where people get sick, but we just kind of want this whole thing just to go away, as I'm sure you guys do as well.
Okay.
We've actually had jobs now where they're taking our temperature coming in, the like factories and different places that we work for. It's a ghost town. I don't know why they're taking our temperatures, but there's some offices and stuff. They're taking our temperatures before we go in. 3 of our jobs have been shut down because they don't want anybody in their buildings. One of them, a guy actually thought he had it, and they shut the whole place down. They're in there walking around with hazmat suits on, sanitizing the place and everything else. And of course, they didn't say anything to us. Well, then all the workers saw them walking around in hazmat suits, and they all just about had a revolt. And I was like, oh my gosh. So crazy times is all I can say. So, but Harold's got plenty of hand sanitizer, Lysol wipes, so he's good to go. If you need to be scrubbed up, go over and see him, and he'll wipe you down.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Sean? Appreciate you giving us an update, and appreciate you hanging in there on the job.
Yeah, we were scared to death when because we figured they were going to shut it down, everything down, but a bunch of us contractors got together in the AGC and petitioned for essential workers, and that seemed to work out well. And it hit Greene County first, of course, besides St. Louis and Kansas City used to do that, unless it was a federally funded or a state project or like a highway project, critical infrastructure. But we were able to get that amended to where construction projects, period, were essential. So it was kind of scary there when you've got 150 families looking for a paycheck every week. You don't want to send them all to the house.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, like I said, everything, if you guys got any extra toilet paper, give it to Harold. They've been stealing it out of the porta johns at the job sites. I haven't heard if they've done it at his yet, but that's the thing around town here is they go steal all the toilet paper out of the porta toilets. So, but anyhow, like I said, any other questions for me? I've had a guy drive by here before I got on the call, shooting and driving down the road and shot one of our windows out. So they caught him up the road. So he's damaged several properties down through here by shooting. So That was interesting. I just figured it was Merlin or somebody, but he's on. Back that fast. So, see y'all later.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Okay. That does it for our discussion topics. We'll move into action topics. The June board meeting. We've got several options of what we can do, and just a note that the existing board meeting falls within the 14-day requirement of meeting to reorganize after the election, which it was pushed back obviously from April. So we could maybe hold a regular board meeting and then hold an additional one later if we wanted to do it that way, as opposed to pushing everything back.
Carl,
Wait.
are you sure about that? The board meeting, if we were going Thursday, would be June 18th. And June 16th is 2 weeks after the election.
Thought the election, well, let me pull that back up again.
I think the election is June 2nd, isn't it?
Election's June 2nd, so 2 weeks, you got 14 days, it'd be June
Okay,
16th.
I'm in error then. I was thinking for some reason that the election was not until later. All right, so we will definitely have to do something, and we could move our June meeting up and just bring in the new newly elected board and reorganize early, and then hold a full meeting later. Or we can try and hold the full meeting earlier and just hold a meeting late in June to approve budget.
I would like to make a comment about that. There's a chance, according to what information I just received this week from the state, that the state might not be able to approve their state budget at the constitutional deadline of May the 8th. And if they push that back late May or even early June, we probably will not have enough information, with a lot of the funding numbers that we get from the state to have our board budget or our school budget approved. So we could get it approved, but it would be with a lot of caveats of being amended in July or August or later in the year. So I don't know if how necessary it is to try to get a perfect budget approval at the end of June. As a side note, this is the COVID year. It only happens 102 years, hopefully.
Okay.
Whatever the board wants to do.
Well, by the existing state law, we have to have a budget approved before the end of June. Obviously, we could approve a budget based on assumed numbers, and we can make it an extremely conservative budget, and we can obviously make modifications to it after the fact. I don't know.
I would say that'd probably be in my interest. I would think just go ahead and make one, but you've got the notion that it probably is gonna have to be amended once we know our money situations.
I concur. I agree. 'Cause we
Does
have to
it-
make, yeah.
If that's the case, do we need to wait and do that, or should we just make one meeting and move it up a week and hold our meeting on the 11th? And just, would that work for you, Dr. Johnson, if we held it on the 11th and we did a budget based just assumptions? I mean, I know you have absolutely no numbers or estimates right now. Normally you have an idea of what the state's going to provide by now.
Yeah, I think unless something changes, which I mean, we can wait maybe and see if we get more clarity, but I don't think that we're going to have good numbers. I think that we can approve the budget anytime that the board wants to have the meeting.
Okay. So,
But do you need it closer to the end of the month to help finalize this year's numbers?
That is one positive of getting everything in this year. That is true, Larry.
I know before, that's why we always tried to do it as close to the end of the month as we could, so that we could get almost all of our numbers in and get it finalized.
So if we keep that theory, then we need to set board meetings in June. One for the reorganization. And that's if the election happens, which we think it probably will. And then the second one can be later. But we can work, I really can work around. I mean, this is going to be a very unusual budget time, so I can work around anything.
okay. Does anyone have any preference as far as moving the meeting just 1 week earlier? Just keep it on Thursday as we've done? Then I'd like to have a motion to move our normal monthly meeting to the 11th of June and hold a budget approval meeting on the 25th of June.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I can see Tina. Was that Larry that made a second?
Justin.
Justin.
Justin, okay. First and a second, any discussion on that? Those in favor, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And we will have our normal monthly meeting on the 11th. Next item is a discussion of insurance and what we want to do regarding payment for insurance. Everyone can see what we've gotten from our bids, switching over to Anthem. I realize that the rates are going up. Fortunately, Dr. Johnson was able to work with them, and they're not going up nearly as much as stayed in the consortium and stay with USI. So you can see that the HSA plan that includes Barnes, which a lot of our employees really want, is $642 a month. And so I recommend that we cover that. You can also see what the effect is on the budget if we apply more money to the insurance. Bottom line is the total compensation package to our staff includes insurance, and we can either provide money there or we can provide money with salary. So one affects the other, obviously. I'd like to have a motion of where someone would like to set the cap. Right now, we're at $600. That is not enough that would require everyone to pay something.
So Carl, on the insurance cap options, as you mentioned, if we kept the cap at $600, everyone pays that, and our budget stays the same as far as insurance goes. If we do cap it at the 642, which is the high HSA with Barnes Jewish, that would increase the budget by a little over 100,000. A lot of people would look at a HSA and they would say, well, what good is HSA if the district's not putting money into it, right? But you can put your own money into it, and you could take the lower HSA without Barnes Jewish, and money would be put into it. Every $50 that we increase, the cap is at 128,000. If we were to go up to 700, it would be at 256 addition to our budget. These are difficult decisions, and this is going to be one of the, it needs to be our first big budget decision for next school year. And I think a safe recommendation would be at that 642 mark, considering everything that's going on right now. That's not going to be a popular announcement to communicate, but I don't, if you talk around to other school districts and other businesses, this is not just St. James that's dealing with this. It's everybody. It's a problem everywhere.
Basically, I need a motion so we can continue with discussion.
I'll make a motion to put our cap at the 642.
Was that Tim?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion to cap our insurance at 642 with the premiums that we've got with Anthem. I need a second.
I'll second it.
I'll second.
I have a second. Discussion. And like Dr. Johnson said, it's not a popular thing. It's not something we want to do, but it will allow us to provide additional salary for our staff. Okay. There being no discussion, those in favor of setting our insurance payment from the school district at $642, say aye.
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 Are there anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We'll set our insurance cap and move forward with our budget as best we can. And that is all we have for action items. The next is the superintendent's report. The first thing on there is budget planning. Dr. Johnson.
I already talked a little bit about some of the things, the news that we're getting across the state with and I know if you talk to a lot of local municipalities and such, the sales tax is really it's been a difficult thing on people depending on that. And the school district, we do have a portion of our budget called the Prop C on the sales tax, and then you got the Classroom Trust Fund, which is dependent on the casinos. Many of the casinos, or all of them, I'm assuming, are shut down. So that's going to be quite an impact on those funds that will be drastically reduced in our final payments. We're looking at that at a 15% reduction of Prop C and Classroom Trust funds. So we are trying to prepare for the unknown in budgets. We don't know what's going to happen. We've already, as a school district, and I think many districts who are preparing properly on materials and supplies, since we did miss about a little bit less than a quarter of our school year due to our material and supplies budgets to be reduced by 20 to 25%, which makes all the sense in the world. Of course, we use, if there are things that are truly in need next year during the springtime, we will do our best to get those teachers and coaches the things that they need. We did get a budget update on Monday from the state budget director. That said that he $1 billion shortfall to the revenues for next year. And in that, he was talking about, school districts need to be ready for their, school districts will be the last to get the withholdings, but there will be reason for us to plan for a decrease. There's a great chance that we plan for a decrease. We will maintain the same of funding over the last, it'll be the 3 years prior average. And the state's going to do everything they can to keep that going. But it'll be extremely difficult, what he's saying, for them to get the budget, their state budget approved on May the 8th. So we'll see where all that goes on how we can get our budgets approved. We had a webinar yesterday with Massa and Moasbo, and the good news that I was talking about is the CARES Act funding. That's something that the state had to apply for to the federal government, and the state got that. And so St. James will get 82% of our Title I allocation, which for us is about $94,000. So that is that's a great thing that we will be able to get this money. And in talking to the people at the state level, they're saying we can get this as soon as in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we'll see how that goes. Still in the early stages of other grant opportunities. There's a thing called extraordinary expenditures that we are spending money on due to the COVID-19 that we would not be spending on. We will be able to make a ledger of different things that we are spending money on. One example is the money that we're spending to put our learning opportunities in the newspaper. We would never have done that. Well, that can be turned in, and we more than likely will get reimbursed for stuff like that. Anything that teachers are doing to help teach and learning opportunities, or buying things to help kids learn, that can be turned in. There's lots, and I know Wes is doing extra disinfecting of his buildings and protocol and different things to get the building safe for when there is a return. Anything that we're doing that we would not have been doing if it wasn't for coronavirus, we will need some reimbursement there. So those are some positive things. I'm looking forward to that. One thing that we are looking at is expansion of our Wi-Fi coverage in all of our parking lots. And so we have Josh Carroll's doing some work on that, investigating some potential ways that we can add Wi-Fi coverage. So lots of things going on budget-wise, and there's more unknowns than anything else. Questions on budget planning? Okay.
Yeah.
So SRO update. We were notified Friday, City Administrator Jim Fleming notified us in a letter that the city is looking to renegotiate the contract for our source officers for next school year. They're having, obviously, with everything that's going on right now with COVID, the city is having a hard time finding money in their budget to fund the program. I haven't heard, I had a conversation with Jim. I also talked to Chief Jones. And right now it's just, they're not 100% certain which direction they're going to go. So we're really waiting on information that can be provided by the city of what their commitment level is going to be, so that we can know what we can do. Right now, we are splitting with the city 50-50 with 2 SRO. And that is basically that we're funding 1 SRO. We did help startup costs for the row car and equipment. So if they were to decide to cut 100% of the funding for SROs, that I think that there would be some sort of reimbursement for us helping with that startup. At the same time, it would be my opinion that we would maintain the school district's level of funding where we're at now for the one SRO if it's 100% cut by the city. So that's just the update for SRO. Any questions on that?
Merlin, is there with the SRO? So we have two, and obviously we're funding one. Will they both still have positions? Like, does the other one will have be working for the police force? Is that your
Yeah,
understanding?
yes, it's a good question. And talking, and then if there's information that the city's put out, I really think that they are needing officers. They're having a hard time with officers have been leaving and going to other towns. From what is indicated, that they really just, I think if they were to cut these people, Tony and Jenna would have jobs with the city.
So if the city quits funding, we're going to put them on our salary schedule and make them one of our employees?
That's a good question. That's something that I don't know if we want to do that. I think we would still like to be working with the police department. So I think that's a conversation that Ron, Chief Jones and I, and our safety team, but really Chief Jones and I, and then the city with Jim Fleming, we need to talk about. I think it's best that the person is still a police officer. If we're hiring our own person that's being paid by St. James School District, I don't know how that would work. So as far as being able to key in and things like that. So there's questions to be answered there still, Tina. That's a good question.
I would say we should still be able to have a contract with the city police department, even if we have to pay 100% of it, that they would provide the coverage for us.
Correct.
Is there a
Do we
possibility?
know when we're going to have an update from the city?
Go ahead, Shalina.
Go ahead, Shalina.
Do we know when? Do we have an anticipated time of when the city will provide us with an update?
I do not know. I Monday night, and I thought that they were going to have some information to help us all determine that, and they did not make that decision. I know that there's some council members who are really working hard to try to convince the other council members the need to the two SROs to maintain the city funding. And you know, it's just a very difficult this time right now for the city with their, and so I feel for them making a difficult decision. The only thing that, I mean, as far as our situation goes, you know, the savings that they're having is really difficult for it to come at the dismay of the school district's budget. And we're not looking to cut our budget. We're looking to keep it going, keep it where it's at. And that's why we really just wanted the city to continue with the 50-50, which, you know, I've been at a previous council meeting and made my plea to them to do that.
My question, if they can't provide the 50%, but they could provide another percentage, be it 30%, could we still have that discussion of possibly keeping both SRO officers?
Yeah, everything's up for negotiation. So, you know, look at ways that we can make some cuts in other places. I mean, it's really difficult right now. The place where you can find cuts is in salaries, and those are the things that we don't really want to, where we don't want to go. There might be some programs, but our discretionary funds are 10%, maybe, I mean, really 10% of discretionary funds. So, you know, I think something that we could look at is for sure say that we're going to have one SRO, and let's get the year started, and maybe the money, maybe unexpected monies will come in, and we can go ahead mid-year and go ahead and say we can do two SRO. I think it's a little, it's a risky to think that, just assume that the good things are going to happen right now with what's happening to our economy.
Thanks.
The one thing I would like to see, if we do have to cut, I'd like to see some sort of an agreement that, when school's in session, that they have sufficient resources. Basically, the two people would be available. So if one of the SROs or whoever is assigned, can't be available, they would have some sort of backup to come bring off their staff to provide a SRO for us. That's having two of them for us right now. One of the advantages.
Any other questions? There's no decision to be made tonight on SRO. It's just difficult decisions that need to be made, and waiting on the city. We can't really know where we're going to be until their decision is made.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving on to the financial reports. Other than I say this every month, we're doing good overall. We're doing better. If you take out all the construction and the bonds, things are looking okay. So, building level reports.
We gave
Dr.
you the
Webb?
best. We gave you the best we could from the 1st of March through the 16th. We were just coming back off the flu and gaining percentages with both and staff. And as far as what's going on in the buildings, I asked the building administrators to try to give us a little taste of what's going on with their AMIs, or their alternative methods of instruction. And they did a good job of providing that. Other than that, it really pulled us to a grinding halt as far as what we had to report from buildings when everybody left the buildings. Questions?
Okay.
No, everything I'm seeing out there and obviously I don't have any kids participating, so those that do might need to chime in, but it sounds like teachers are really interacting with the kids a lot via Zoom. I've heard kids have been on, with their teachers a couple hours, a couple days a week. So
Yeah, some more than others, just basically how the course fits best with that kind of learning, but doing an awesome job.
Totally agree. It's been inspiring, really, to watch it. And I think that going in this new world of communicating, and we as a administrative team, we've grown to see the school board putting forth effort to have a meeting and show our teachers and our students and our parents that we're going to try this virtual thing. It's not perfect for sure. Okay. Justin's dog's barking in the back.
Somebody's flying by on a side-by-side.
Or the neighbor's dog. Okay. If it's my dog, let me know. My dog runs over there every once in a while. Okay. Moving on to MSBA news. Really, there's nothing more new. It's the same thing, COVID, and how great the school districts across the state are doing, providing opportunities for kids, learning opportunities, and not just the learning, but the other services, especially with the school nutrition. And I'd like to commend Linda Webster and our entire school nutrition team, along with the members that have helped out. And these are people that just want to do good things. I mean, I walk in there every time that they are working, people are happy and they're excited that they're doing good things for kids and families. So it's been a very positive situation to watch. This has been unfolding, and just very thankful for the good people that have been helping out. So MSBA didn't really give us a whole lot. They basically said everything we know about COVID and that everything's canceled. So moving on, graduation and senior events. And as everyone knows, obviously graduation has been postponed, but we're I think and something that we're really working hard at is that we're going to do everything possible to have a late summer graduation ceremony. There are other senior activities that could possibly occur, and there are other activities that are not senior related that could occur. So I know, although it says graduation and senior events, I encourage any of the principals to participate in things and any of the events that you could be considering. We'll start out with Mr. Stammers with graduation, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, been in contact every week with the area principals. We've had Zoom meetings, conference principals, and everybody's on the same page. We're looking at setting a date in June and July for sure as alternate dates for graduation. We're going to set June 20th as a alternate date for prom at this time. You would have seen that
Joe, would you do that again? When?
for prom,
For the prom?
June 20th.
June 20th. Okay, sorry.
Yep, that's all right, at the middle school.
Okay.
And then graduation, love to get one outside, but I just looking at it, I don't know if the parking, I've heard different things, so I'll ask Wes, is you have a 90+ degree hot week, will that gym hold up on a Sunday afternoon, the AC?
At the middle school, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah, not the high school.
You know,
Mixed things.
It'll-
I've heard that it-
what it can do, right? I mean, you get how many people, I mean, I can't promise anything, but it'll do what it can do. We could add fans. Karen, stop shaking your head. We can add, we can put some fans down the hallway and get, the commons unit cranking, but I mean, we all, it's not gonna, so.
Yeah, and I don't know if a Thursday evening outside would be better. I don't know, if sun beating down on the turf all day long, that might be pretty hot as well. I was thinking about, because the kids gathering outside before they come in, if it's 95 that day in June or July, that'd be an issue. So but we're looking at,
You have the field at the middle school too.
for graduation, there's no seating.
Well, I hadn't thought about that part. They have to stand.
I don't know if I'm joking or
We've
not.
talked about it. Yeah, we've talked about a lot, and the parking right outside the football field, the parking is going to be a problem. You never seat as many outside as you do inside, but people have the option to bring chairs. So it's leaving things as is. We were looking at June 28th, Sunday afternoon, and the 26th, Sunday afternoon, for graduation. We haven't picked a prom date in July. If we get to that point, I think the priority needs to be, we need to figure something out on graduation. The other thing, we got out all the things the kids have ordered for graduation through Jostens. We got a schedule set for a drive-by pickup. That went out today via email and social media. So we'll be able to get the kids their things. I've been responding to a few parent emails, and I think they did one on our Facebook page too as well, but the dates on announcements, like a couple of the emails were, that needs to be changed. So is somebody going to reimburse us for these because they're wrong? And not the school. I've talked to Jostens about that. I'm sure they've had that from other schools as well. But, but most were super excited to be able to pick their stuff up. And then working with the guidance counselors and the senior awards is going to go on as scheduled. It'll be virtual. And we feel like that a lot of those kids are going to need to know whether they get scholarships before they move forward. So we'll get that set up. Danielle and is working really hard to get kids video wise and from the presenters. So that will go on as it normally did that Wednesday of what would have been graduation week. So they're working hard on that. Phil, did I leave anything out?
I think you covered it all.
Are there any questions for Joe or Phil or any of the other principals about any activities or events?
Joe, when do you anticipate to lock those dates in?
Wow. The ones I gave tonight, I think we go ahead and lock in. And if at some point, if Wes would come in and say, oh, it's not, I don't see any, I mean, I would love to have it outside on an evening. That's, I've been involved with those for years. It's pretty. It's even on a hot day, but as the sun starts, about the time graduation would start, but I don't know how the parking would go. Obviously, we wouldn't seat I don't know what our bleachers seat there, Phil. Not near what we put in the gym.
No.
Which I think those two things are big obstacles.
You would have a lot of standing people at the football field either way.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say you could do the same principle of doing it in the evening at the middle school. Be more likely we could keep it cooler, later in the evening, possibly if we keep the air cranking all day and get it cold in there before anybody shows up,
Yep. Wouldn't be as bad to gather the seniors outside either, so.
Could you have it at 9 o'clock in the morning?
We can do whatever we want, yeah.
6 in the morning.
A sunrise ceremony.
There you go.
After not attending school in the building for a couple of months, and then you're going to have seniors get up for 9 o'clock graduation. I'm not sure that's going to go well.
And you couldn't do it on a Sunday. So.
There are schools that do them on nights. I've always been intrigued by that. Two or three in our conference do. That gives them the weekend then with family is the reason they do that. So that would be to explore.
Could you do it with just the kids? Have it videotaped. Every kid gets a video of it, plus live stream it at the same time, and not have parents or people there.
Be a battle to fight if we want. We definitely have to have our resource officers there.
That there's going to be some help as other school districts across the nation start making decisions, and maybe we can get some good ideas from some of them on, there's like you say, there's so many unknowns right now. And Joe and Phil and several of their, basically their entire high school staff, they've been brainstorming ideas, and it's still wide open on what we're going to do as far as how we're going to do it. I think the dates, as Joe was saying, we can go ahead and lock those in and announce. But then how it's going to look, the type of ceremony, where it's going to be, that's all information to be determined later.
That's what we have going right now. you know, like I said, get doing the senior awards, keeping that where it is, I think's important to do for the kids. And then we'll be passing out their Jostens materials next week, 8 to 11. If anybody wants to see that in action. We're gonna take it out to their car. We're not gonna allow anybody to come in the building. So
So the survey you guys sent out, was that just for dates, or was that discussing some of the things you're discussing, like mornings and evenings and weekends and?
yeah, it wasn't for, I haven't seen the results.
It was mainly for what do the senior parents want to, what did they want to see actually take place for the kids? If, you know, with all this that is going on, if there's certain things that could, you know, that we might not be able to do because of the COVID, what is something that you guys hold pretty sacred that you wanted to see continue is mainly what the
Okay.
survey was for.
Joe, can you repeat the dates one last time so everybody can know the dates for graduation and the dates for prom?
Prom is June 20th. The 28th of June, which is a Sunday afternoon, if we keep it there. And then July 26th. Those are both Sunday afternoons.
For graduation?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That seems to be what most of the other schools there in the area are doing, is picking 2 dates, one in June, one in July, and then they'll go from there after that. There was something I read somewhere, I saw it somewhere, that there was a school or two, I don't know, that used the drive-in theater for graduation, and they put it up, kept everybody in the cars, put it up on the screen. I don't know how that would work, but it was something that definitely outside the box. So
Okay.
that's where we are.
Any other questions for the high school events, or there's elementary events too? Any questions? Middle school events maybe? Everyone's working really, really hard to try to figure out things that we could do, but at the same time, we have to make the bad news decisions to inform people that we're going to cancel events as well. So there's been a lot of cancellations, and there will be more canceled, I'm sure. So, okay. Looks like that's everything for the superintendent's report. So on to the next thing.
Well, that's it. Then we have a few things we need to do in closed session. And so I need a motion to go to closed session.
I'll make the motion.
A motion from Tina.
I'll second it.
Who second?
Barb.
Second.
Barb second. This is a roll call vote, so I need to march through. Larry, in favor or nay?
Aye.
Barb?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
Shalina?
Hi.
Shalina's an aye. Tim?
Unmute yourself, Tim.
Forgot about the unmute part. So aye.
Tim says aye. And Justin?
Aye.
All right. All are in favor. We're going to close session. Thanks everyone else for joining us, and have a good evening.